Okay, so we have our student named Jin, and of course, just like any other built-in type, we could create as many as we want. So I could create another student named John, and as long as we provide a name and an ID, let's say Q112, and a major, let's say biology, then the compiler will not complain. Okay, so how can we get these names that we created? Okay, so what is John's name? What is John's ID? What is John's major? So to do that, we will have to go back to student.h. Okay, so everything starts with student.h. And so we have to now tell the compiler how to access the private variables. And so to do that, we have to create these functions. And so everything inside student, okay, everything we do in here has access to the private variables. So every function we create can see the private variables. Remember that. Okay, and so I will create now a new function that I can call to see the student name. So I will call that function get name. And this function will not take any parameters. It does not expect anything. However, this function will return to me the student name, which is of type string. Okay, good. Now I will add one thing and I will do a bit of switching, and I will not call this a function. I will call this a method. The get name method returns the student name. And so you might say, wait a minute, what does method mean? Well, a method is a function. Okay, except when we create a inside this class, we call it a method. That's all. So we just change the name. When we find it inside a class, we say it's a method. When we write regular functions like we've been doing in the previous videos, in the previous parts of the course, in main, those are functions because they're not inside a class. Okay, good. Now, while we're at it, let me change the names here. These are not variables. All right, we usually call them member variables. So member variables. Okay, again, just terminology, just name, but they are variables, but we call them member variables. Okay, so I have a method, aka a variable inside a class, that anybody can call. Notice I said anybody can call. Why is it anybody? Because I've created it in the public section. Okay, in the public section. So if I want this name, then I can call it. Okay, I can call it here now. However, this is the last step. After step 1 of declaring and telling the compiler that you are going to create a new method named getName, I have to go to step 2, student.cpp, and implement it. So I will go ahead and I will implement my student my get name method. That's easy enough. Come down here. All right, so get name will return the name of the student. Notice everything we're doing is built up on the fundamentals that you have already known. So if you are comfortable writing functions, then this is not too difficult. So I know I have to put the name of the class, string, colon, colon. What's the name of the method? Get name. Okay, it doesn't take anything. However, I'm missing something, right? I'm missing something. Oh, why am I putting string here? Oops, let's do that again. That's not right. Why am I putting string? The name of the class, student, colon, colon. Name of the method, get name. Good. Not semicolon, but curly braces because we're implementing. I'm missing something though. This function, this method, it returns something. It returns a string, right? So I'm going to put that right here, string. Okay, so the compiler is not happy. Compiler is saying, okay, it's just like the prototype. It's just like it. String, get name. So all I have to do now is to write the body of my get name method, which is a single line. Return the student name. That's the easiest program you'll ever write. Return student name. That's it. So now this is done, and so we can go back to our main and we can test this out. So I can say let's say string, maybe result, or maybe name is Jane dot get name. Okay, and maybe I create another variable, string name 2 is Jane dot not Jane, John dot get name. Okay, then of course I could see out name, and I can see out name 2. Okay, and let's see if it works. Okay, we get Jane Smith and we get John Smith. Now we could also change this. We don't have to create variables. We could just do this in cout. So I could easily say Jane dot get name, and I could easily say John dot get name. Okay, and it will still work. Let's click play. Okay, and of course I always like to talk about magic numbers. We could have done this as well. We could have said name is Jane Smith. So string. We could have said string SID is R444. Right, and we could have said string major is CS, and that way we didn't have to hard code any of this. we could have just said name, SID, and major. Okay, so we could also do that, and it would still work because we talked about the idea of magic numbers and not having to hard code the values inside. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so I will leave this here again. It's always 3 steps. We have to go into student.h to declare, to tell the compiler our intentions. We then need to move to step 2, which is student.cpp, and we have to write the implementation. And then step 3, we need to test our code by using it inside of main. Now, in the next video, we will implement the method to get the major and to get the student ID. So I'll leave it here and I'll see you in the next lesson. You can go ahead and try it for yourself, and then you can look at what I am doing or what I'm about to do to see if you're on the right track. I'll see you in the next video.